Let's take a look first at playing our Dorian over a static D minor 7 chord. Now we've got a D minor 7 chord progression that I've prepared for you guys, and I've played some power chords in there as well to just make it a little more interesting. Now to qualify that, all of those power chords plus this D minor can work in all of the modes that I'm going to show you, okay? So I haven't pulled anything from anywhere that won't work. Now, our first approach then is we have our chord progression, and we can play Dorian, as we know, over a minor 7 chord. Now, Dorian in position over this chord shape, we could have this. Okay, and the key tone that we're looking at really in Dorian is the major 6. So this note here can also be found here. It's the B note. So okay, so that's our key Dorian sound. Now we can play that over that progression, and it's going to work really nicely. Now, just to let you know, just because it's a characteristic tone doesn't mean that it's going to be a chord tone, but it is adding the flavor of Dorian. All right, so remember, the major 6 is the Dorian flavor over this static vamp. Now let's just qualify Dorian. So Dorian's going to be the 2 chord. So what key are we in? Well, we're in the key of C major because the 2 chord would be D minor. Therefore, we're playing in the key of C major, but we're using Dorian over that 2 chord. So we qualified that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play over the track just briefly for you. I want you to hear the tonality of Dorian, okay, which is the 6. Okay, here's the track, and you can hear that. Okay guys, so you get the idea. The flavor is the major 6. All right. Now, it doesn't mean you can't use your arpeggios, your D minor 7 arpeggios, but if you really want to pull out that tonality, there it is, that major 6 thing. Okay, and be able to see that major 6 interval shape from within your patterns. Of course, I could have used any of the major scale patterns up the fretboard and played Dorian. But I'm playing this in position so you can see it over the chord. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, let's look at what the next mode would be that we could play over a static D minor chord. Okay, so let's say D minor is our 3 chord now from a given key. Now, D minor 7 would be the 3 chord in the key of B flat. All right, now we can play Phrygian, which would be the mode that would work from B flat over that static D minor chord. Now, how does that feel on the fretboard? All right, so we would have this. Now, the characteristic tone of Phrygian is that minor 2nd. All right, and that's giving you that really tense flavor that you get in there too. So okay, it kind of has a dark flavor to it. Now a pattern for that in position would be this. Okay, so we could have okay, so there's our Phrygian tonality. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play over the track so you can hear now, it's the same track by the way, you can hear that Phrygian tonality against the static vamp. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm not being complex or anything with it. I want you to see where the tonalities are working, all right? So what I'd like you to do when we get finished with all of this is obviously explore how all three of the modes that I'm going to play for you in this video work and can work together, because you could actually use all three of them. So far what we've heard is the major 6 of Dorian over this static vamp, the minor 2nd as Phrygian over this, calling a 3 chord if you like, okay, and we're in the key of B flat, but our tonal center is obviously the 3 chord, which is the Phrygian, all right, so there's our flat 2nd, our characteristic tonality. Now, we can play that and Dorian together. Now, the other minor chord that exists in a key would be the 6th chord, all right, now that's Aeolian. Now, if we've got a D minor 7 static vamp, what key would D minor come from? Well, D minor would be 6 in the key of F, okay? So, in effect, we're playing the F major scale, but resolving to tonalities of the 6th chord, all right? We've got a static vamp of 6 now. Here's how that would look on the fretboard. So there's an Aeolian shape on the fretboard. Now, the characteristic tone, as we said, was that minor 6. Now let's just compare all 3 characteristic tones from each of these minor modes. Here's our Dorian. There's our major 6. Here's the characteristic tone of the Phrygian. The minor 2nd. Now here's the characteristic tonality of Aeolian. So there's all 3 of those. I didn't play through the whole scale, obviously, I just wanted to show you the characteristics. So they're the differences that you're going to get, those nice flavors, and obviously Phrygian, you know, has a different tonality completely to Dorian, all right? But you can use all 3 of those modes in position or out of position, if you like, on a static minor chord. Now, let me just play Aeolian for you over the track so you can hear that minor 6, and then I'm going to throw it back to you guys. So if we'll pull up the track there a second. And as you can hear, that's much smoother than the other 2 modes, okay? So the other 2, in my opinion, have a little more character. Now, you might not want that character, so that's fine. So you have choices here, okay? So you've got 3 great choices over a static minor vamp, and some of the greatest rock guitar players that we know will play those kind of solos where they use maybe even harmonic minor, melodic minor, Phrygian, Dorian, you know, Aeolian, mix it all up in there to add in those really nice flavors. Now, guys, I've prepared this great track for you. You've got the concept here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to play over the track once more a little bit, and I'll delineate each time when I change to the different modality, just so you can hear that and maybe get a concept of that in your mind's ear. And then I want you to work with the track on your own. Obviously, you've got that. Play at your leisure and really get those tonalities out of these superimpositions of your minor modes. There's Phrygian, okay? That's more of a Dorian thing. Back to Phrygian. Now here's Aeolian. Phrygian. Okay, so you get the idea now how those three tonalities can work together over a static chord vamp like that. Okay guys, pull up the track, jam at your leisure, and start putting those nice modal flavors into that static vamp.